Well, you guys have really seen it all from workforce planning, recruiting, talent management at scale. What's a workforce decision that has become a lot harder over the last few years?
I think the most obvious one, right, is coming back from remote work. Do we go hybrid? How much do we require to people to come back into the office? And if we're going to stay remote or hybrid, really, like, how do we figure out the most productive way to do that?
How have you been able to approach that at Airbnb?
I think Airbnb has been great in terms of allowing employees to be remote. We are a fully remote, shop.
I mean, workforce planning is always this sort of multidimensional problem, right? Where you got the financial data, you got the operational and structural component, you've got things like skills. We add in like location and remote as a completely like other factor in all of that.
How do you get work done with employees all over the world in different time zones and make sure, our India team is supported from a recruiting operations and technology perspective when really our ops resources are sitting on the East Coast and the West Coast in the United States, right? And like, how do we build in headcount there for support?
No, I mean, it's a massive challenge. And like, how do you think workforce planning is changing inside organizations today? And maybe more specifically within Airbnb, how's it changing?
I think that leaders want to have even more oversight into all the decisions that are being made, and they're watching dollars a lot more, basically because the street expects everyone to be a lot more efficient. And so they have to have insight into decisions throughout a large org.
And specifically within Airbnb over the last year, it's changed in that we've implemented ChartHop, right? And we've moved from managing headcount requests and workforce planning in Google Sheets to actually having structures and systematic workflows and approval workflows, and the ability to see, okay, what is the impact of these changes on headcount budgets and cost of headcount, and how does that change if we tweak roles and look at different scenarios?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, I think at Airbnb's scale, you want to be able to go from kind of the macro to the micro and back, because headcount planning is a problem of both.
At our scale too, it's even, there's like a third dimension of it is there's, the micro in terms of I'm a line manager, I'm a, manager at a lower level, I have a smaller scope. That needs to get viewed up by my manager, department head, finance. But then Airbnb, we have country managers, right? You don't necessarily manage the headcount in like a traditional kind of top-down org structure, but almost in a matrix direction. And they need to understand what's happening with our workforce and headcount, like who's going to be joining the offices that they're responsible for in their country. Yeah. So there's like this third dimension of being able to view the org.
And yeah, I mean, that was also a thing when I started ChartHop. Obviously the org chart structure and the kind of hierarchical structure was one piece of it. But the way organizations work is not just the manager structure, right? You have matrix and cross-functional and all kinds of different team alignments that you need to be able to, view and understand at any time.
Yeah, we agree.
There's a lot of hype on AI in HR. Probably this whole conference we're at, we got a lot of AI talk. We're certainly among them. But where have you actually seen AI truly help leaders?
The biggest way it has helped leaders is it has sped up essentially the work creation, and it creates other problems downstream in terms of orchestration of the work and how it gets into production. The actual ability to get prototypes ready, the actual ability to, for example, also plan different team structures, that stuff's gotten a lot easier. Then you still have the change management difficulties.
It's taken a lot of tactical work off plates of leaders and even individual contributors, but what I'd call kind of like that consultant tactical work in terms of creating charters, creating documentations, creating decks, right? You can dump all your thoughts and the content that you want and get a deck generated in a couple minutes versus spending 3 hours, right? Working on a deck. So I think just the lift in terms of taking that tactical work off their plate and allowing them to focus on more strategic level.
Yeah, I'll say one other thing actually that I think is a bigger impact is it's allowed leaders to think a lot bigger because they can understand how the work's going to move that much faster. And the stuff that used to take a long time isn't there anymore. And so they can imagine different features that just, I don't know that people even thought of before. Yeah.
I think it's absolutely right. It's like, if work is this sort of pipeline or stream of, different things that have to happen from idea to operational reality, it's like AI has like taken all the friction out of like one piece of that work stream. And it's made the like prototyping, building, like it's taking a lot of that like, boring scut work out perhaps, but you still have the reality of like operating,
It's how do you get it to production? How do you do it in a responsible way? How do you make sure data security and all of that is managed appropriately, right? And it's also because it arms everybody, and it's such a great thing, right? Like anybody can go and do their vibe coding and create a proof of concept, ensuring that you're not ending up with 13 separate API integrations for 13 different people, and there's some governance around the data layer and the data architecture. I think is key still.
Yeah, that's one thing we're thinking about a lot and hopefully offering is the level of data governance, right? Like, as if everybody can build, if everyone can vibe code, and that's like a trivially easy thing to do, how's that going to happen in a secure environment in a way where permissions and data governance are still respected?
I think there's a conversation out there about how does AI impact the world of SaaS.
Yeah.
And I think it's just SaaS becomes more focused on somewhat of that back end infrastructure.
Yeah.
Right. And less on like, all right, is our UI good?
Right.
Right. And do we have the right structures and process management, security infrastructure?
Yeah.
That then somebody can go and build AI coded dashboards.
And for those companies that do have good backends, it actually makes it easier to address client needs because you can iterate quickly on those front end pieces.
That's exactly right. Like we've been thinking a lot about, can we just let our customers vibe code whatever UI they want on top of that secure backend, right? I mean, I don't think the need for great UI goes away completely because people are always going to want like a well thought out platform, but it does move a lot of what's needed to the infrastructure.
How you prioritize and the decisions you make about the product.
That's right.
And that decision making process and the weighting changes.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So you saw AI Pro, which we announced yesterday. What'd you think? Your thoughts, reactions?
I mean, I sat there and watched a dashboard that would probably take somebody a couple hours to build, get generated in a matter of like 45 seconds maybe.
Yep.
Very impressive work. So congratulations to you and your team.
Well, this has been awesome. Any parting thoughts?
Experimentation is key. I think the thing that doesn't get talked about enough, even in some of these sessions, is the importance of the data architecture and the data layer. And that while it's very easy to build those proof of concepts and jump into AI and create things, there is that runway.
Yeah.
And it's not the sexy part of the work, right? So I think it often gets overlooked, but there needs to be some patience around that and investment in that space. Is the output of the AI is only going to be as good as what you're putting into here.
100%. Like this came up at a dinner I was at last night too. Is like the data models become even more important because that's what the agents are going to navigate. So the agent's going to take it literally. The agent will take it literally, whatever's there.
The data is what's going to support business decision making going forward more and more. And so it just means the people that you do have working with you have to be a lot more literate on that side. And hopefully it means people make better decisions. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. All right, well, guys, this has been really, really great. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for being ChartHop customers. Thanks for having us.